What's up? So, I should be live by now. And one thing that I saw happen today was NASA back. Let me double check something here, make sure that everything's working. Seems like it. Well, except for my YouTube stuff, but oh, there we go. It says YouTube's not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. So hopefully it isn't buffing for all of you. So what am I playing in the background here, or on your screen? This is actually the video, two videos next to each other, and I have to synchronize them. This one's like 5 seconds ahead. Okay, I think they're the same time now. We're at what this is two animations from NASA of that we will see in 2021. So in 2021, I don't have a problem with that. The point I want to make is that they created this animation. This should tell NASA something, but I'm sure it won't. Let me just make sure. Can you guys put in the chat if you're I might have to turn one of these I don't know what it's called. But one interesting thing about this gives credence to a flat earth. And I guess my chat, let's see here. Sorry, I just want to check this. Chat, let me try to do a pop-out chat. I think my computer is maxed out right now. So I'll probably have to stop the animations that are playing, but I'm going to show you something first. I'm trying to open up a chat right now just to see. Okay, there's some people there. Coffee House Theology, Thomas Morgan, Gabriel Minton Ministries, Parkway, Raven Randwolf, Wake Up, and Rebecca Rogers. Welcome. That's all I can see right now. 5x4, he says. Okay. Thanks, Tony. It'll get her when I turn these animations off. Let me try something else here. Actually, I know what's going on is I have a video processing in the background right now. Thank you, Gene MCC. And Sean Beck and Stephanie Island Girl, welcome. So in the background, there's a video that I'm processing, and I think that's probably screwing up my stream. So anyway, I'm gonna go back to this image bigger. This, okay, from Earth. Best word that we can probably describe in our day and age with what we've been. So there's a view from the south to look at the moon and a view from the north to look at the moon. And the interesting thing is that you see the image upside down. You see it flipped and rotated. And that's what you'll see on the screen. And actually, the timing isn't bring. So I'll try to sync it again. This is what you see from the south, and this is what you see from the north. Okay, so let's take this. Look at the right side. and it says Southern Hemisphere. Okay? Now, the labels they have of all the different craters and whatever, to me, proves beyond any doubt. Disk. Let me open up some. 99%. We should hear a ding pretty soon. Then I think everything will. Hopefully, if it's buffering. It should be now. Oh, hey, I got chat here. Let's see. Uh-oh. Thanks, Tony. Tony says buffering. It should get better, guys. Okay, it should get better right about now when I close this other program. My computer's really thinking. Thank you guys for letting me know it's buffering. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get rid of these images on here. I can open them up again if we have to. Okay, tell me if it's buffering still. Actually, it probably is, because my computer is still thinking. Sorry, guys. I kind of knew this was going to happen. I'm still waiting on my program to respond. Sorry. Okay, so hopefully you can hear me. These animations of the moon phases in 2022. Oh, there we go. Okay, close. Sorry, guys. No. Okay. Now I'm going to go to my program. Now I'm guessing that it might stop buffering, but you probably have just a black screen. Let me show you something. Okay, this might be okay. There, we're back there again. Oh, except I have green screen on for some crazy reason. There we go. So you're looking in the north and the south. You're facing two opposite directions, and you're looking at something on the ceiling, right? That video that I just processed, let me go grab that. We're going to understand something about the moon and how we view it from the earth. Just things that I've learned, my own point of view here, and I want to just share it. Okay, let's see here. No volume. Okay. So, Shauna says, sounds good now. I'm good here. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to add this other video that I just made. Let's look at this. What I did is I took my little iPad or my little Samsung, whatever they call it, tablet thing, and I hung it from the ceiling with a picture of the moon on it, okay? With the same, one of these videos was on it, okay? So let's look at that really quick. So that's hanging from the truss in the shop. And what I'm doing is I am changing my location on the ground from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere. So the truss is like the equator. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm just going to leave this play a couple times. So the truss is the equator. Now we're in the, say, southern hemisphere. And let me pause it. Oops. Sorry, guys. Okay. So when we look at this, do you notice how it says moon phases? All that's upside down right now. Okay. It's upside down and the shadow is on the right side of it. Okay. Now watch as I move the camera around past the truss or the equator. Thank you guys. I'm glad it's clearing up. So I just I'm gonna play this again. Okay, so let's say we're in the south. Now we're gonna go past the equator, and we're gonna start looking from the north. And now I'm gonna pause it. And now you go in and you see that the shadow's on the opposite side, and the moon phases is right side up on the top right side corner there. The writing is up right side up. Now that isn't because I'm on a spherical planet. That isn't because of anything other than what we're doing is we're looking up, and from this side of the room, I have to look north in order to see the moon. I have to look up and north. And let me get that image I had earlier on. Just give me a second here. Oh boy, this might be hard to find. I'm looking though. I just want to show you this, if I can find it. See, all we're doing is we're switching our location, and what that does. Here we go. Okay, so, whoops, I made that a little too big. Sorry, guys. Okay, view from the south and view from the north. The moon's up in the sky for all of us. Like right now, it's probably at about 50 or 45 degrees right now from the horizon at my house in Minnesota. And I'm looking up and to look to the moon. Well, right now it just came up, so I'm looking almost like east, but I'm looking southeast. And as the moon goes over, let me show you another video. As the moon goes over, this is an observation I made overnight one night, and in the morning. I just have to find it. Here we go. Okay, now I'm just going to let it play. Okay, so make a mental note of the moon's orientation. It comes up on the screen. Okay, I'll pause it so you have a little extra time. So this is at 10 p.m. This was, I don't know, a couple months ago. This was at 10 p.m. And you can see what I was looking at was that circle on the top right at about 2 o'clock. Or maybe, yeah, 2 o'clock, I'd say. Something like that. That's what I was paying attention to. You can look at whatever you want, but make a note of the orientation. And I'm just going to play the video. 3 hours later, look at the orientation. Do you see how it's turned clockwise? It's actually rotated clockwise. In just 3 hours, it moved that much. Here, let me go back to the other one. See that? Compare that with that. Do you see how it's moving clockwise? Now it's in the morning, 6 hours later. Do you see how it went further? Now I'm going to explain why it does that. It isn't because the moon is orbiting the Earth or rotating or anything like that. So that, let me just play it again. And this time I'm going to put like a clock on top of the moon to give us an idea of what we're looking at. So that same circle that I was pointing out is at like that. Okay, look at where it's at now. At 3 hours later, it's at almost 3 o'clock. And then 6 hours later, it's at, what is that, 5 o'clock? 4:30? Okay, so it definitely turns clockwise, but why is it doing that? Let me get my image back up there. Why is it doing that? It's doing that because of how we're looking at it. Okay, so let me tell you the directions that I was facing during this video. Okay. So at 10 p.m., sorry, at 10 p.m. when I was looking at the moon, my camera was facing east. That was right above the horizon there. My camera was facing east. Now my camera was facing almost straight up in the air, but south. So if you think about what my camera had to do, it's doing like a gymnastics move through, in slow motion. So then at this time, I was actually facing the opposite direction. I was facing west and looking somewhat south, but mostly west. It was going down at this point. So what actually made the moon appear to do that turn, that clockwise rotation? It isn't the moon doing it. It's just because as the moon goes over my house or whatever, over in the sky, my camera has to do this maneuver where it's right side up facing east, and then it has to basically point up in the air as it's turning right and rotating to the my camera's rotating counterclockwise, and as it continues to rotate counterclockwise until it reaches the top of its arc, and then it goes down to follow the moon, and it keeps rotating counterclockwise. So the moon appears to rotate clockwise. It's simply how we are viewing the moon. So let me go back to my image again. This is what's happening. The moon is a local light that's in the sky, which we're going to talk about light in a minute. The moon is a local light that is just up in the sky, and it's visible for many, probably thousands of miles. But it's local above the Earth. And we can kind of see that because you can't look at it from the south, the direction. You can look at it from the north. If you're in the north, you're looking at the people, you're looking towards the people that live in the south to see the moon. If you live in the south, you have to look north towards the people in the north to see the moon. Because the moon is, it's something that is, what it's doing is a circuit. Let me show you one other thing here. So let me, should we take a second? I want to talk about star rotation, okay? Because it's the same concept. When we look at the North Star and we see, let me grab a video of star trails, just to here's some. There will be some star trails on here, I guess. Oh, wrong format. Sorry. I do that all the time. Here, this might be. Okay. See that? I'm looking north. This is my backyard. Then I pointed my camera towards Polaris, which is the center. It's the closest star to the axis of rotation of the sky. So, see how the stars appear to be moving counterclockwise? Well, I guess, let me go back to that. Sorry, this is a different video, but it's showing it. See how they're moving counterclockwise? Well, let me just stop that. And so what happens if we turn 90 degrees to the left? We are going to be facing what direction? If this is north, we're going to be facing the west if we turn to the left 90 degrees. And what are we going to see if we're looking west? Whoops. If we're looking west, we're going to see the stars going down, right? Towards the horizon. If we turn to the left and look, we'll see them going down towards the horizon, right? So what happens if we turn to the left again, 90 degrees? So then now we'd be facing south. What would you expect to see? You'll see the mirror image of it. You'll see the opposite because you're looking the opposite direction. So when people are when they have a problem and they say, "Oh, there shouldn't be any there shouldn't be any two rotation points in the sky, two centers of rotation. Why? Why not? Because we've all been brainwashed into thinking that that means we live on a globe. That's really why people say that. Oh, there's a cool shot of the moon. And that's actually mirrored. Okay, so if you're looking towards the north, at the North Stars, you're going to see them moving. Sorry, guys. You're going to see them moving in a counterclockwise rotation. If you turn yourself around 90 degrees and you look to the south, you're going to see the opposite thing. And if you go to the equator, that's when you'll see both of them equally. The people that live near the equator have the best way of understanding what the sky is doing, and that's simply by looking up at the sky. And they have the best location to understand it. Because if you're in the north, you think everything is like everything in your world is moving. It appears to be the sky, like above your head, so it's moving in a counterclockwise rotation. Well, of course, that would seem to work on the globe if you go upside down onto the bottom of the fake cartoon ball. Then, of course, you're going to see the opposite rotation in the south, because it's the same concept, but it has nothing to do with a curved surface. That's the ridiculous part. That's why NASA putting a video out like the one that they did, or the two that they did today, which I will link these videos in the description, or I mean in the pinned comment or whatever. But this right here, this is reality. This is how we see the moon. And so it's the same with the star trails, why they appear to go in opposite directions, north to south. It isn't because the sky's switching direction. It's because you had to turn around to switch from one to the other. Let me read something that I wrote about this a little bit. So about these animations, or let me put these animations back on the screen so that you can see what I'm talking about. I see Awesome Austin is in the chat. Welcome, Awesome. I'm just kidding. That's funny that you are here, because I have something in my video in my program right here that might be for you and Christian. Maybe. Let me just see if I can play a little clip here. It was just something I was working on a little bit. There's Christian. Just wait. And there's Austin. Just something I was working on in the background, not done or anything. Okay, so this right here, these are two videos that NASA uploaded today. And you can see that they're the exact same animation, just flipped and rotated. Yes, Vajra Sky, yes, I agree. Or wait, she said, but the moon isn't parallel to the Earth's surface. It's perpendicular to the Earth's surface. I guess I don't really know what you mean there. What I believe is that the moon is a light, and it isn't necessary. It could be reflecting the sun's light, but that's not what's lighting it up. And let me read what I wrote here. Hold on, sorry. Okay, so what's on the screen? These animations of the moon phases 2022 that NASA Goddard uploaded to YouTube today are two separate videos. And I'll add the links in the pinned comment when the stream's over. They uploaded their prediction of what we will see throughout the year of 2022 concerning the moon phases. One video for the southern hemisphere and one for the northern hemisphere. The images of the moon on the screen are actually showing the same images of the moon, but one is flipped and rotated from the other. So basically what we see from the southern hemisphere is the opposite direction as what we see from the northern hemisphere, but the exact same phases. It's the exact same image in the sky. It just depends on where we are in the world, how it's going to appear, and it's where we are in this flat world. And what a crazy reality we live in, guys, when you can grow up with one understanding that makes sense, that the moon is orbiting the earth and that the earth is orbiting the sun, and this idea of a solar system where there's a vast dark space that's basically a place of nothing. It's like it's supposed to be like a vacuum. It's a place where there's nothing. There's no air, essentially nothing. And that none of that exists the way that we were all taught. To me, basically south to north, it just appears upside down to one another. And I was showing you that when I was playing the video of my tablet hanging from the ceiling with the picture of the moon on it. As you move around on this surface, this earth, everything you do as you move around, when you look up at the sky, everything's going to look different from where you are, including the stars. If you're in the southern hemisphere, you can't see the North Star. It's too far away. Way too far away. It's like I can't see the center of rotation in the south. I can't even see close to it from Minnesota. So what's on your screen here? This shows that what we're seeing from anywhere on Earth is not necessarily the moon orbiting the Earth, but rather in motion over the face of the Earth in a circular path. It circuits above the Earth. And it's not spinning itself. And it's not necessarily a spherical shape. And let me explain what I mean. See the images on your screen? They look spherical, don't they? The moon. It looks spherical. But I can guarantee you that the screen you're watching it on is not spherical. It's flat. And it can appear to be spherical because it's a... Uh-oh. Windows Update is trying to... I'll hit the snooze button. I'm hoping that you guys are hearing me during this stream anyway. So, they look spherical on your screen, but the screen is flat. And the thing is that the moon could be flat and appear to be spherical. Right? So yeah, what we have is, let me go back to this. I want to share my screen for a minute and show you guys something. Okay, desktop. Moon in motion, nasa.gov. Moon phases. Okay, now this, let's see here. Let's open up Genesis. Let's have a contest. Let's have a contest between God and NASA. Let's see who wins. Okay. We'll be looking at this. And we'll be looking at this trash right here. Okay. NASA says on their website, talking about moon in motion, in our entire solar system, the only object that shines with its own light is the sun. That light always beams onto Earth and Moon from the direction of the sun, illuminating half of our planet in its orbit and reflecting off the surface of the moon to create moonlight. There couldn't be more error in one sentence or one group of sentences that I've ever read. Okay, first of all, it says in our entire solar system. First of all, there is no solar system that anyone has ever seen. It's strictly a concept that men came up with to explain what we see in the sky, and how they did it was by explaining it with this magical force called gravity. Without gravity, none of the solar system works. But gravity is just this magic pulling force that just attracts things, right? Nobody knows what it is. I think it's more simple than that. I think it's so simple that there's lights in the sky. Thanks, Anthony. Sent me a text, says sounds good. I think that look at, okay, let's just break this down. Okay, in the solar system, okay, there's something false already. The only object that shines with its own light is the sun. Genesis 1 verse 14, and God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven. See how that's plural? Lights. NASA just got done telling us that there's only one, and it's the sun. Well, look, God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. See, that was plural again, lights. And God made two great lights. Two great lights. Not one, two. The greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good, and the evening and the morning were the fourth day. So on the fourth day, God made two great lights. Thank you, Eric Dunaway. God already won. God won a long time ago. A long time ago. But it has to do with, the sad thing is what people believe in this world today. A lot of people will be listening to this stream laughing. They believe in God. Well, that's something that's why I would do this stream, is so that people do believe in God. Because it's a way smarter thing to do, to believe in the one that made you, and than to not. Who else are you going to believe? Elon Musk? Is he your hero? Is he going to make you immortal and heal your infirmities? Or are you going to ask Jesus for that? Think about it. Because I'll tell you what, these guys are spouting just lies. That light always beams onto Earth and Moon from the direction of the sun. NASA's saying this like it's a fact. The moon has seen from Earth. Like Earth, the moon has a day side and a night side. Okay, so now they're saying the moon has a night side, which change as the moon rotates. Now they're saying it rotates. Does it rotate? Or is that just how we look at it? I think it's interesting that we look at it from the ground every time, and it looks exactly the same to everyone on the ground. Everyone. It looks exactly the same, except it's just changed its orientation. It's a different angle. It's like a different, you have to turn left or right. That's all you can get anywhere on Earth. And here's another thing that kind of says something. The stars, anywhere on Earth, they rise in the east and set in the west. Anywhere you are on Earth. We live on a flat plane. So I wanted to play some videos, or a video at least. Let me, this one has something from the Book of Enoch in it, and I love this video. And the music in the video, a lot of people like the music in the video. I'm going to put a link to the channel where I got the music from, and you can go subscribe or find, he makes tons of music. So I will put that in the chat once, or actually wait, I better do it now, because otherwise my computer will be like skipping, trying to keep up or trying to play the video. Okay, so this is the channel, Carl Casey at White Bat Audio. That's his YouTube channel, and there's a link to the channel if you guys want to go check it out. I just wanted to say that, give him credit for the music, because I think I just think it's good music for video, so I use it all the time. Let's see here. Where is my screen? Okay. Check out this video and listen to what I read in the Book of Enoch about okay, it's important that we understand that what we're looking at up in the sky, that's the kingdom of heaven. We can look up and see God, and I'm not saying like describe him as a man, not like that, but there's something to the stars. And check this out. And it came to pass after this that my spirit was translated, and it ascended into the heavens. And I saw the holy sons of God. They were stepping on flames of fire. Their garments were white, and their raiment and their faces shone like snow. And I saw 2 streams of fire, and the light of that fire shone like hyacinth. And I fell on my face before the Lord of spirits. And the angel Michael, one of the archangels, seized me by my right hand, and lifted me up, and led me forth into all the secrets. And he showed me all the secrets of righteousness. And he showed me all the secrets of the ends of the heaven, and all the chambers of all the stars, and all the luminaries, whence they proceed before the face of the holy ones. And he translated my spirit into the heaven of heavens, and I saw there, as it were, a structure built of crystals, and between those crystals tongues of living fire. And my spirit saw the girdle which girt that house of fire, and on its 4 sides were streams full of living fire, and they girt that house. And round about were seraphim, cherubim, and ophanim. And these are they who sleep not, and guard the throne of his glory. And I saw angels who could not be counted, 1,000 thousands, and 10,000 times 10,000, encircling that house. And Michael, and Raphael, and Gabriel, and Phanuel, and the holy angels who are above the heavens go in and out of that house. And they came forth from that house, and Michael, and Gabriel, and Raphael, and Phanuel, and many holy angels without number. And with them the head of days, his head white and pure as wool, and his raiment indescribable. And I fell on my face, and my whole body became relaxed, and my spirit was transfigured. And I cried with a loud voice, with the spirit of power, and blessed, and glorified, and extolled. Lift up your eyes on high, and behold who hath created these things, that bringeth out their host by number. He calleth them all by names, by the greatness of his might. For that he is strong in power, not one faileth. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. That's from the book of Enoch, chapter 71. He describes going up to God's house, or whatever you call it. And it appears that it's at somewhere at that North Star, at the center of that rotation. So that's something interesting about the sky. It rotates. It's in motion. And so when a lot of the things that they do with space exploration, blasting out of this world, or trying to, or thinking they are, that has implications that I've found in the scriptures of the prophets. They've said that these things would happen. Let me give you an example. Actually, it's probably in this video. I'm going to play this video. And if it's not in this video, Enoch chapter 57, we'll go read it. But I think it's in this video. So check this out. Let me just say one thing quick. I paused it. When they're blasting things up into the sky, like Starlink satellites, I was talking to Tony from Coffee House Theology on the phone this morning. We were talking about the Starlink thing that Elon Musk is putting up in space. And there's so many different aspects to that, but one of them is that there's visible changes in the stars at night, and you can ask like astrophotography people. They don't like those satellites because they get in the way of their imaging. And when the Antichrist or the Assyrian or whoever, whatever we're going to call him, the son of perdition, it says in Daniel, it says he will think to change times and laws. And when I'm in Genesis 1 verse 14 through 17 or whatever, and it says that the sun, moon, and stars, that God placed them in the firmament to be for signs, seasons, days, and years. Just think about that. They're trying to change the times and laws. They're trying to change that calendar in the sky. All right, so here's back to this video. I saw the treasuries of all the winds. I saw how he had furnished with them the whole creation, and the firm foundations of the earth. I saw the cornerstone of the earth. I saw the four winds, which bear the earth and the firmament of the heaven. And I saw how the winds stretch out the vaults of heaven, and have their station between heaven and earth. These are the pillars of the heaven. I saw the winds of heaven which turn and bring the circumference of the sun and all the stars to their setting. I saw the winds on the earth carrying the clouds. I saw the path of the angels. I saw at the end of the earth the firmament of the heaven above. For on the first day he created the heavens which are above, and the earth, and the waters, and all the spirits which serve before him, the angels of the presence, and the angels of sanctification, and the angels of the spirit of fire, and the angels of the spirit of the winds, and the angels of the spirit of the clouds, and of darkness, and of snow, and of hail, and of hoarfrost, and the angels of the voices, and of the thunder, and of the lightning, and the angels of the spirits of cold, and of heat, and of winter, and of spring, and of autumn, and of summer, and of all the spirits of his creatures, which are in the heavens and on the earth. He created the abysses, and the darkness, eventide and night, and the light, dawn and day, which he hath prepared in the knowledge of his heart. According to many scriptures, there are angels of the winds, and they have certain things that they do. Just like the angels of the rain and the clouds, they govern the rain that falls on the earth. Whether you believe in angels or not, it's at least something to think about when we're talking about the winds, because of sound, the speed of sound, how if you go faster than sound can move through the air, a phenomenon happens that is only known about by doing this. A sonic boom is something that happens beneath the area where something is going supersonic. And when the shuttle, or in this day and age, Falcon 9 rockets come back into the Earth's atmosphere from being outside the Earth's atmosphere, there's a sonic boom. And the four winds are held by four angels, and this has something to do with the destruction mentioned in the book of Revelation. And after these things I saw four angels standing on the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the four angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads.
All right, made it back. All right.
Holy mother.
Twin sonic booms heralding Atlantis' arrival at the Florida spaceport.
Was that a nipple? Don't like that, huh? What's that? Cool. Space shuttle.
4 minutes to touchdown.
Holy crap!
That was a space shuttle, Tina.
Yeah.
That was a space shuttle. Look at what I'm getting this. I'm getting this on camera. Look.
Unusual for this last landing, right, Greg?
There are, and as I mentioned, once we hear that boom, we always like to see it for ourselves with the naked eye. That's when we.
Hollywood out there. But we're like, look at this trajectory. We're like right on top. We're exactly underneath it.
There are a lot of people who say that this rocket launching stuff is all fake. And there's several things that you hear about that. But there's some proof that some of this is not fake. And if we look at just videos taken of rockets launching, we can tell that they are moving faster than the speed of sound very shortly after the launch, and they keep going. You would only assume that they accelerate through that whole time that you can see them. And the sonic booms. We know of something that has been experienced probably all throughout time, and it's something called a meteor, or that's what we call it anyway. And that's where something comes into the atmosphere from outside of our world, and it very much makes the same sound as one of these rockets re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. Let's compare the two. There's a dome.
What? Oh my God, that's ridiculous. Oh.
We actually see the same thing happening. We see visually the meteor come in, or the rocket come in, and both of them are moving faster than the sound can move through the air. So that's why we hear a sonic boom. And they're re-entering from outside of the Earth into the Earth, and they're going very fast. The only difference is the rockets have engines to arrest the velocity. So just like with the meteor, there is a sonic boom because it's moving faster than the sound can get to the ground. And sonic booms can be destructive.
Another series of booms hit, and at that point we seen the glass shatter out of the back of her truck.
Sonic booms causing destruction. The loud noises could be heard from Port Charlotte to Sanibel Island yesterday. They caused a lot of confusion about exactly what was going on, and as you can see, they also left behind some damage. 4 in Your Corner's Malcolm Johnson speaking with one man who's now looking at paying for a new rearview window after it shattered from the sound.
That's right, Amy. It's not every day that you hear about a sonic boom. So just to refresh everyone's memory, it's caused when planes surpass the speed of sound, causing a boom that can be felt down here on land. Today, I met a man who wants to know, now that the rear view of his truck is blown out, who's going to pay for it? If you've heard the loud booms over the last few days in Southwest Florida, you're not the only one wondering what it is.
Maybe it was a gunshot?
Nope, not a gunshot, but a sonic boom. The Key West Naval Air Station tells me by phone it's caused by jets flying overhead training on their way to the Gulf of Mexico.
Never seen anything like this from a sonic boom.
So after we have talked about this, let me read Enoch chapter 57 to you. And it came to pass after this that I saw another host of wagons and men riding thereon, and coming on the winds from the east and from the west to the south. And the noise of their wagons was heard. And when this turmoil took place, the holy ones from heaven remarked it. And the pillars of the earth were moved from their place. And the sound thereof was heard from one end of heaven to the other in one day. So Enoch saw some men riding on wagons on the winds, and it was the noise from their wagons that and turmoil that moved the pillars of the earth out of their place. And the sound was heard from one end of heaven to the other in one day. And in Enoch chapter 60, it says this, "In the year 500, in the 7th month, on the 14th day of the month, in the life of Enoch, in that parable I saw how a mighty quaking made the heaven of heavens to quake, and the host of the Most High and the angels, 1,000 thousands and 10,000 times 10,000, were disquieted with a great disquiet. And the head of days sat on the throne of his glory, and the angels and the righteous stood around him. And a great trembling seized me, and fear took hold of me, and my loins gave way, and dissolved were my reins, and I fell upon my face. And Michael sent another angel from among the holy ones, and he raised me up, and when he had raised me up, my spirit returned. For I had not been able to endure the look of this host, and the commotion, and the quaking of the heaven." In that book of Revelation, at the end of the world, Satan deceived the whole world. And one of the great signs and wonders that he did was make fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceive the world by doing that. Don't be deceived. Some trust in chariots, and some in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord our God. They are brought down and fallen, but we are risen and stand upright. Save, Lord, let the King hear us when we call. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. Tiger Bear in the chat has some interesting comments, very similar to the way I think. He says, seems there is some insight to be revealed in breaking in the sound barrier. And I'll talk about the sound barrier in a second. And then Tiger Bear says, man, I really want to understand orbiting. I understand the reasoning given for a spherical planet, but not for a flat plane. I have a vague idea, but nothing concrete. I still feel like I'm being tricked. And then, is the speed of sound a limit to its frequency? Let's just think about the speed of sound really quick. I always think about it as if I'm standing on my driveway and I look way over at my neighbor's house and they're bouncing a basketball. And what I'm hearing does not match with what I'm seeing. Do you know what I mean? You're hearing that echo. It's coming after. And so it's quite easy to actually like experience that, how fast that speed is in the air that we live in, that we breathe, you know? And it's fast, and it happens to be like where we live, I mean, on Earth, in the air that we breathe, it's like somewhere around, I think it's somewhere around 770 miles an hour, I think. And that it depends on the medium, how thick the air is, how much air pressure, because as you gain altitude, you can go, like the speed of the sound will change. Like in water, it's really fast, or in like metal, if you tap on some metal, that sound travels really fast through that. But through the air, it's kind of slow, which is about 770 miles an hour. So when a jet flies faster than 770 miles an hour, whatever number we want to use, when a jet does that, and that's when we see that vapor cone around. Let me try to find a video. That's when we see that vapor cone happen, is when it's just going through that sound barrier. So it doesn't make any sense to anyone, and I think anyone would probably say this same thing. It doesn't make sense that if a vehicle is making noise, that it could go fast enough that the vehicle surpasses the noise that it's making. It goes ahead of the noise that it is making, because the noise itself can't move that fast. That's when we get boom, sonic booms down on the ground. So really, if we think about it, men can break through it. If you want to look at it that way, we can surpass that speed. We can go faster than that. So it's not a limitation that can't be passed, but it's a limitation of our reality. Sound can't move faster in that medium of air than it does. It just won't ever do it. But we've made vehicles that can go faster. So there you go. I mean, it's a limitation, but it doesn't mean that it can't be messed with or overcome or whatever you want to say. And when we're talking about orbits, that's interesting what you say. I understand the reasoning given for a spherical planet, like with gravity and attracted to the center of the Earth and all that. But not for a flat plane. That's what Tiger Bear says. And I think to get something concrete is to separate the heavens from the earth, like the celestial from the terrestrial. Like we live on the earth, everything that we experience is something like physical and tangible and, material. We have the table of elements and everything is like made up of all this stuff. And like that's the way that we understand it. But the heavenly realm isn't according to the Bible and according to just looking up at the sky, what's holding the moon up? Well, of course, if we were going to believe in a solar system, we would say gravity. The earth, the earth is bending space-time and the moon's falling into that bend. Okay. That's not imaginary at all, is it? I'm just kidding. But yeah, so Tiger Bear, here's the way I look at it. In heaven, there's no physics. There's not even supposed to be any men. like or you could call it, maybe I shouldn't call it heaven, because I don't literally think it's heaven. I think they're going sideways, right? They're just above the Earth going sideways. That's what low Earth orbit is, going parallel with the surface of the Earth. And they think that they're falling towards the Earth, but the curvature of the Earth is making it so that they never can hit. So they found that what they find is like a zero vector between the downward acceleration from gravity and the outward acceleration from being tetherballed around a sphere in a circular orbit. So they have to make sense of what we experience, right? So if you're up in that darkness and you experience a perpetual state of free fall, you're literally falling, which is interesting too, because it's a pit of darkness, it's an abyss, and it's bottomless. You're literally falling. Anything that's in space is falling. The moon is falling around the Earth, and the Earth is falling around the sun. So that's what's scary about the solar system itself. Is this that image of jealousy that's in Ezekiel, and is this the in the temple of God? Because what I've learned is that the heavenly realm is not for men. And if we think of the Tower of Babel, God did say, with one language and one tongue and words of union, nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. Did we imagine landing on the moon? We did. This world imagined it. And then they rode Apollo. They went on their mission Apollo. And I think they went to go serve the angel of the bottomless pit, Apollyon. They went and got a key into a place that's not heaven, and it's not a place that has any kind of physics, and it's a place that will swallow up the Earth one day. The Earth will fall into a great deep abyss and be burned with fire. That doesn't mean there's not a new Earth transformed by God. So that's why I think it's important to look into these topics. And I'm with you, Tiger Bear. I want to know more too. I want to understand more about what. I mean, I think we all do. We all want to understand more. Jace says, "Funny how the rockets never go straight up." Exactly. If they went straight up, they would have to just fall right back down, because there's an up and a down in this reality. And apparently they found a specific sideways reality. Literally sideways. You're going sideways. That's why the ISS goes over it. They think it's orbiting. It just does a big circle. And how would they know it was a circle or not? They wouldn't, because there's no physics there. You're not going to feel that, whatever that's called, whatever kind of inertia or whatever that's called that you'd be feeling if you were turning. You're not going to feel that up there. There is no physics. Well, they play with water and stuff up there. Yeah, because they're there. Remember, God said they'll do whatever they imagine to do. Lee Redpath says, "Arc up and arc round back into the ocean." That's an old flat earther's fable, though. Really, the reason why I'm saying that isn't to disagree with you. It's to open your mind to another thing that's happening that is not rockets going into the ocean. It's more like the sun setting down into the ground. You're kind of saying the rockets, they go back into the ocean. Well, so does the sun. But where's the sun? Is the sun actually in the ocean? No. So I'm just kind of playing the devil's advocate there. We understand that when things go away from us, they can be the same height off the ground, but they're going to appear to go down towards the horizon until Like if you're in the northern and southern hemisphere, if you go far enough south, you can't see Polaris anymore. It's too far away. It's gone down into the horizon as if it went down into the ground. That's just how we see. Tiger Bear says they've been caught faking space, so it's possible the ISS is something utterly different than what they present. No, you don't have to listen to what they present, though. I don't think it matters what they present. You can look up at the sky and see that they have something up there that's flying over the Earth at a very consistent rate. Very consistent. Thanks, Wake Up. Wake Up says I'm fan-freaking-tastic. The reason why I talk about this stuff is because I was actually talking with Tony about that this morning. There's a deception happening within the truthers community. There's a deception happening. And it's that everything in space is fake or being faked. You have to look at it differently. You have to look at it differently. I'm not saying you have to believe it differently. You have to consider something if you haven't before. And it's kind of the opposite of what you're saying, Lee Redpath. And it's not that I'm disagreeing with you. I'm trying to introduce a very important concept of a part of reality that's happening. A lot of people talk about, how fake, if NASA's faking space, like what Tiger Bear just said. They've been caught faking space. That's all in the eye of the viewer. That's what it is. NASA hasn't been faking anything. But some of us look at it and say, that's not real. And any flat earther here should be able to admit, to themselves at least, that they don't know what's happening. I admit that. I don't know what's happening, but I'll tell you what. I know that because I've paid attention to what happens in the sky very closely for a number of years, there's Starlink satellites. Every time I look up at the stars, I can spot one. Even in the middle of the night. The shit's here. I love that name. That's funny. Thank you. I'm glad you guys all at least considered some of the things that I'm learning. But okay, so orbits, nobody's orbiting. It's just a circuit. It's called a circuit in the Bible. And everything up in heaven is on a circuit. It's like quite obvious when we look at star trails. And then we catch in photography, we catch airplanes flying by and they're like zoom, and we catch the ISS going by and it's like zoom. And when we look at these things in the sky, they're there after men put them there. And let me share one thing. I was trying to get something here, a video, but I got sidetracked. There's waters above, guys. Ooh, the power of the air. I was looking for a certain video and then I got sidetracked and now I'm like looking at other videos. What's this? Is this what is this? I don't even remember making this. It's only 16 seconds long, but we're going to watch it just because we need a break. All right, here we go. Okay, that was interesting. What's this? Super heavy. Check that out. That's a big rocket, guys. That's what they're working on right now. That thing's huge. Stands like, what is it? It's It's somewhere in like 400 feet tall. I'm not even kidding. So when Enoch... Okay, let's just look at this thing. This is called the Starship. They're going to launch this for an orbital launch like within the next few months, or Elon Musk said next month, but you know, it always takes longer than they say. But see all those black blurry tiles there? I think in this video, let me just turn the music down a little bit. We'll see some better close-ups of those tiles, and I think the things that they're doing here, it's easy to ignore them and pretend that they're not doing them, but that's not reality, guys. And to say that they're faking everything, this kind of effort doesn't go into faking everything. That's not nobody's doing this to fake anything. And if we look at what the Bible says in the book of Revelation about the whole world being deceived, every nation, all nations were deceived, and they were all this city called Babylon the Great. What does it say? It's a woman. It's a harlot that John sees. He sees it in the spirit. And this woman was riding a beast, a scarlet-colored beast. And the things that it says about Babylon, John said that he saw an angel coming down from heaven. And the angel said, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. And then it says something about all nations have drunk of the wine of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And something about the people on earth being drunk from the wine of their fornication. Babylon is a place where evil spirits dwell. Where are they going with these rockets? Think about it. They aren't faking space. They're being deceived. And this is to me, it's a much, this subject deserves much consideration. These vehicles launch up into the sky, and they experience something else when they go sideways at what they call orbital velocity. It's a certain speed that they reach. Have you guys ever heard of the windows of heaven? Think about it. So let's see what else we got here. Okay, here's Elon Musk with his explanation of how to get to space. Now this is about what they know. They don't know anything.
And they said, go to, let us
Let's check this out.
There is a bit of an education process that's needed to understand orbital dynamics, because a lot of people are confused of like, why the heck are you landing a rocket on a ship in the ocean? That seems pretty inconvenient. And the reason is because that going up and staying up is actually about velocity horizontal to the Earth's surface. So there's a huge difference between space and orbit. Like space, you could think of as like, say, being the international waters boundary for the Pacific Ocean. Like if you go, 100 miles offshore, you're technically out of coastal waters. Now you're in the Pacific.
Right.
So it's like technically you're in the Pacific, but orbit is like circumnavigating the globe. It's a really giant difference. And the reason that things go up and stay up is because you're zooming around the Earth so fast that your outward radial acceleration is equal to the inward acceleration of gravity. We're thinking like a coin funnel. Like it's very much like that in but it's obviously a sort of a four-dimensional coin funnel. But if you spin a marble or a coin on a coin funnel, when it's far out, it sort of spins slowly, and then as it gets closer, it spins faster and faster. And if you were to start at the bottom of the coin funnel and you wanted to exit, you'd spin it horizontally, and it would spin out, and that's really how you get to orbit.
Yeah, that's how you get to orbit. I'm just kidding. So Lee Redpath, you like this. So he says, they are definitely faking some space, like the bloke fading out round the corner, or people on harnesses or bubbles, etc. The bubbles, I think, are just like things that are floating around. And harnesses, I've never really seen any harnesses. I've seen what looks like people grabbing harnesses and stuff. I'm not going to deny that. It looks weird. But there's another concept to consider. What did John say? I think it was in Revelation 16. Let me just see if I can find it really quick. John said he saw 3 evil spirits like frogs coming out of the mouth of the dragon and out of the mouth of the beast. I think I have a video about that, but I don't remember where it was. And he said it was the spirits of devils. And like in Enoch chapter 17, I believe Enoch said that he saw... I'm going to look that one up really fast, because I can't remember what he said he saw, but it was... They were taking the form of men. Let me find it here. Oh, give me Enoch. Wikisource. There we go. Okay, check this out. And they took and brought me to a place in which those who were there were like flaming fire. And when they wished, they appeared as men. And they brought me into the place of darkness, and to a mountain, the point of whose summit reached to heaven. And I saw the places of the luminaries, and the treasuries of the stars, and of the thunder, and in the uttermost depths, where were a fiery bow and arrows and their quiver, and a fiery sword, and all the lightnings. And they took me to the living waters, and to the fire of the west, which receives every setting of the sun. I could keep going there, but he was brought to a place of darkness, and he saw those who were like flaming fire, and when they wished, they appeared as men. Those are fallen angels. So anyway, I get it, but the fading out around the corner, that's just an editing transition. I can do that with my editing. You'll see it in my videos all the time, where one scene is fading, literally fading into the next scene. It's just, what do they call it? I don't remember what it's called. It's called a, I can't remember what it's called. A transition. And there's several different ways you can do it, and one of them is fading to the right, fading to the left, fading evenly, fading from the top, fading from the bottom. You can do all different transitions. So that could easily be that. And I understand why you're saying that, though, because it looked like fake. So anyway, let me explain one thing. That I'm going to play one video. Basically, I'm going to read the book of Daniel chapter 7, and I just want to show you guys something interesting. Okay, we watched a video where we talked about the shuttle a little bit, the space shuttle, and the space shuttle was the beginning of the space station. Okay, and the space shuttle had wings, and then the space shuttle was abruptly retired. And so for the next 9 years after that, that was in 2011, for the next 9 years after that, NASA had to rely solely on Russia to get to the space station. They had to buy seats on a Russian Soyuz for 9 years until SpaceX Dragon started bringing people to the space station, which was just in 2020. Okay? I want you to compare that with the beasts that Daniel sees in this vision that he has of the time of the end. Daniel 7. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea. And four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And behold, another beast, a second like to a bear, and it raised itself up on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast also had 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth. It devoured, and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. It was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. I beheld then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion, and glory, and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me, and made me know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are 4 kings, which shall arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom, and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Then I would know the truth of the 4th beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. and of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus he said, the 4th beast shall be the 4th kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down, and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times, and the dividing of time. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion, and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven, shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. Hitherto is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my cogitations much troubled me, and my countenance changed in me, but I kept the matter in my heart. What an awesome chapter, huh? So, let's see here. That was Daniel 7. Now check this out. I'm grabbing a video. One I made quite a few years back. It's really short. And first, before I explain that, or play the video, I want to explain that the word that Daniel wrote down when he said ram, that he saw a ram, that word is, in the Hebrew, it's Strong's 352, and it's A-Y-I-L, Ail, I guess. What's interesting about that word is that not only is it used as an animal, but it's used to describe part of the structure, the pilasters that were used, like in Solomon's temple and Ezekiel's temple. I think it's in 1 Kings. I don't remember which chapter. It's a gate post. That word is used for. It's used for like in this video it says, maybe I'll pause it when it says it, because I play it really fast in the video, so I'll pause it. But this is the next chapter in Daniel, another vision that's that he has. Check this out.
Then I lifted up mine eyes, and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns.
Okay, so this is 8 verse 3. So he's describing what he's seeing. This is interesting. So here's what Strong says. It says, an oak or other strong tree, mighty man. What's a mighty man? Is that like a fallen angel, or like a... Think about that. But a lintel, oak, post, ram, tree. So also a ram from his strength. A pilaster. That's like a column that's built into the facade, the side of a structure. Anything strong, properly strengthened. Hence. So this word could mean something other than an animal flying up in the sky that he describes here. So check this out.
Then I lifted up mine eyes, and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. I saw the ram pushing westward, and northward, and southward, so that no beasts might stand before him. neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. But he did according to his will, and became great. And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and brake his 2 horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him. But he cast him down to the ground, and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great. And when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land. And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven. And it cast down some of the hosts and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away.
Okay, so Trod Wazzle in the chat says, we know NASA are liars, though, and are not trustworthy. That's what I want to change your thinking on. Like, I'm not saying that I'm right or something, but if you just assume that NASA are liars, what you're doing is you're not taking heed to the warnings that Paul gives in like to the Ephesians. We're not struggling against flesh and blood, but against the powers and principalities and the rulers of the darkness of this world. Spiritual wickedness in high places. And that in the Greek, it literally says cosmic powers of evil in the heavenly realm. That's in heaven. We're fighting against, that's where our battle, that's where our struggle is. It's against those evil spirits that are up in high places. So what I'm saying is that NASA isn't lying. The people at NASA are just like you and me doing a job. Larryology in the chat says, I got an iron worker buddy that works for Elon Musk. They are building rockets for real. He loves his new job. They're hiring as many people come and work for him. They're running 24-hour shifts at that starbase in Boca Chica, Texas. They're building a whole infrastructure to launch these things, and like Elon wants to go to Mars. But what I want you to think about is to consider that, and there was actually a pretty good example of this happening in the flat earth community on YouTube with Russian vids and David Weiss and Jaronism, where we have, the way I see it, we have 3 people that see the truth, and one of them is kind of accusing the other 2 of being basically agents or something like that, like they're being hired to say the things they're saying or whatever, which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But what I would say is that if you look at other people differently than you look at yourself, you can make up anything about them and make yourself believe it. On the level up there says nobody's getting in those rockets, but they are. You can try to make yourself believe that, but I see that as willful ignorance, because the information is out there easily. You can go you could go to Florida and watch them launch. You could watch them land boosters, because a lot of people in the flat earth community say that that's fake. They're not landing boosters. That's just played in reverse. Well, not in real life, it's not. So what I'm saying is that the let me grab a video. I take a video of this all the time, the space station. And if you've got a P1000 or a P900, you can get a pretty good shot of it. Let me just play one of mine. I have them all over on this computer. But I just don't know where. ISS with Nikon P1000. This looks like it's the whole video.
To be going over
5 minutes long. That's the moon. Let me fast forward. It's hard to film it. It is. It takes a little practice. But just look on your screen. That right there. If I'm in Minnesota and I see it at a certain angle, you can go to Missouri or you can go to somewhere south and look at it kind of like we were talking about the moon. You're going to see it from the other side. Anything in the sky is like that, and this thing happens to be moving fast. And what I would suggest is that if you just say, oh, that's just like Sean from Kingdom in Context told me that he's done some deep investigation into this, and yeah, although he's never filmed it, I don't think, but he said that it's a U-2 plane, a retrofitted U-2 plane with a bunch of lights to look like the space station. And the difference between my thinking and that is that would include men. That would include men deceiving the whole world, and that's not what's happening here. And I can see. Did you hear at the end of, or towards the end of that Daniel 7? What he said was, he said, and this video is not very good. I'll actually, I think if I go a little further, see how it turns scarlet colored, guys? Do you see that scarlet color? This is where I'm walking to the backyard, I think, yeah. Because it goes over the house, so I had to go to the other side of the house. And I think I get one more shot of it here. While this is playing, I'm going to grab a better video of it where it's slowed down a little bit. Because it's so shaky. And it's out of focus right now. Let's see here. I'll find another one. Maybe. Oh, I know where it'll be. I can show you one with night vision even. Oh, that's an MP4. I guess I can't. Sorry, it's out of focus and everything. So I guess I don't know where another... Oh, here it is. 8th speed. Let's look at this one. Oh, it's already in here somewhere. 8th. I have 2 videos named 8th. Here's one of them. I'll play that while I'm looking for this other one.
The weird part about it is space is so incredibly black, so incredibly dark. It's a bottomless pit of deep black. Almost so deep it almost has a texture when you look at it.
It's wandering stars to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever.
And there came...
The blackness of darkness forever. So here's slowed down. And this is not a very good video. I'm not trying to say that it's a good shot or something. What I'm saying is you can see what it is. If like, it shoots 2160 and 4K. I'm not broadcasting that. It's only 1080 or whatever. But maybe I can pause it and zoom in. Well, it's really hard to keep the camera still. Trust me. I'll try to zoom in on that. You can see the solar arrays, and like, I'm not saying that I have some proof or something, but what I'm saying is that it's just what they reported. That it's just what they believe. The deception isn't happening between men, is what I'm saying. But there are no earthly rulers, is what I'm saying. Twadwazzle says, I suspect dark rulers share knowledge with our earthly rulers. That's true. First of all, that's true. That's in the book of Enoch. They learned all those things when they came down. Let me find that right here and read a little bit of that maybe. what is it, in chapter like 7 or 6 or something? Yeah, this is what R.H. Charles titles it, The Fall of the Angels, the Demoralization of Mankind. Wow. And it came to pass, this is chapter 6 in the book of Enoch, and it came to pass when the children of men had multiplied that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters, and the angels, the children of the heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and beget us children. And Simyaza, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. And they all answered him and said, Let us all swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations, not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. So they made a pact, and then, let's see, it must be the next chapter that describes some of the things that, let's see, maybe it's chapter 8. They taught them how to do all these things. Yeah, right here. And Azazel, this is chapter 8. Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth. Interesting. The metals of the earth, that's how they're making all these rocket engines with like different alloys and things that are being invented. Metals. Working metal. Think about it. And the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones, and all coloring tinctures. And there arose much godlessness, and they committed fornication. They were led astray, and became corrupt in all their ways. Simyaza taught enchantments and root cuttings. Armoros, the resolving of enchantments. Barikajal taught astrology. Kokabel, the constellations. Ezekiel, the knowledge of the clouds. Erakel, the signs of the earth. Shamsiel, the signs of the sun. And Sariel, the course of the moon. And as men perished, they cried, and their cry went up to heaven. This, all this evil, you're right. You're 100%. They do share knowledge with the earthly rulers. But here's the thing. The earthly rulers aren't using it to deceive anyone. They're using it to do exactly what Lucifer says in his heart that he wants to do. Exactly. This is what Lucifer says in his heart. It's in Isaiah 14. He says, I will ascend into heaven. What does NASA and SpaceX and all these space people do? They think they're ascending into heaven. But Lucifer says, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. And then he also says, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. That's exactly what rockets and everything do. They go above the heights of the clouds. And then he says, I will be like the Most High. He's trying to be like God. So he has to try to go up to the sky and be where God is. So if you think about a solar system, a solar system is just a trick. It's a trick. And it isn't a trick that men are playing on other men. Think about it. NASA will tell you that space is a bottomless pit. That's what NASA will tell you. And that's what science will tell you. It's a bottomless abyss of darkness, of nothing. Because if anything that goes there has to be moving orbital velocity around something else, or it just falls down, burns up, whatever. You can't go there unless you're going sideways. And guess what? After Lucifer says that in Isaiah 14, he says, I will be like the Most High. Then it says, but he will be brought down to the sides, or down to hell, to the sides of the pit. Lunar GG says, NASA this, NASA that. And in the end, they agree with you that the earth is flat, and you still call them liars. Isn't it funny, too, how they compare dark matter to water? You know how in the Bible it says there's waters above? That there's waters above the heavens even. Waters. The moon is in waters, dark waters. Whatever that means, I don't think anybody knows exactly, but NASA says it's a vacuum. Dark waters? Why did they compare it with water? Let me find that video. It's actually a good video. It's a JPL lecture. And I just took some parts out of it because what the heck? They're just describing what the Bible describes, but of course they have to do it without a creator. They have to do it without God. They can't have God. Let me just find this video. Sorry, my computer's a little slow. I think it's probably here. Dark waters. Okay, this is great. Check this out.
We measure dark matter. So I'm going to tell you about how we measure dark matter, since it's invisible. What I have here is a cartoon of how we measure dark matter. In cosmology, we measure distances with a unit called Z. So we're here at Z of 0. We're the observer. We're 0 distance from ourselves. And here's our telescope. And we look at distant galaxies out in the universe. These distant galaxies that are of Z about 1. And that might sound like a small distance, but how we do it in cosmology is a distance of 1 is actually about halfway to the edge of the visible universe. So this is a very distant galaxy. In the absence of anything between us and that galaxy.
And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters."
And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day.
The light from this galaxy would take a straight path to us. But we know from the work that Vera Rubin and others did that there's all this dark matter out there in the universe. And we're particularly sensitive with this technique to dark matter that's about halfway between us and the distant galaxy. Excuse me. One of the consequences of Einstein's theory of relativity, our theory of gravity, is that mass bends space. So what this means is the light, when it gets near this dark matter, won't take a straight path to us. That light is going to take a distorted and curved path. And I'm showing a very, very exaggerated version of that here, so it's easier to see. The consequence of this is that we will not see the galaxy as it actually is. We'll see a distorted version of the galaxy. So the dark matter between us, which we can't see, has distorted our image of this distant galaxy. And in doing so, it's telling us something about the dark matter. So I'm going to tell you with one more analogy. I'm going to use another analogy for how we measure dark matter. This is a penny in a pool. That's the analogy here. And full disclosure, Alina and I don't actually have a pool. So you're looking at a penny in our bathtub, but penny in the pool sounds better. So in this analogy, the penny is like the distant galaxy. And the water in our bathtub, or the water in a pool, is like the dark matter. You don't see the water here, but you know it's there because you see the effect on the image of the penny. So what's happening is the light is coming to us from the penny, and it's taking some distorted path that changes our perceived shape of the penny so that we know the water is there. So that we know the water is there. In much the same way as the light from a distant galaxy comes to us, takes a distorted path through the dark matter, and we see a distorted image of that galaxy. But we don't see the dark matter. We don't see the water. So that we know the water is there. I could tell the density of the water and how much water there was, and that's going to tell us a lot about the properties of dark matter. That's how we're learning about dark matter now, and that's how we're going to learn about dark matter in the future.
He made darkness his secret place. His pavilion round about him were dark waters and thick clouds of the skies. So there you go. There's that. They compare it with water. I think that's great. Water. You know, water. Okay, we're going to go out with a little bit of a effed up world video. And then I'm out of here. Thank you guys for hanging out, but check this out. What are they doing? What are they... Here we go. You might like this.
Alright, we're off. I'm glad I get a couple minutes to hang out with you guys alone. I wanted to talk about something to you. We're going up to space, per se, in a rocket, and I don't know if it's such a good idea now that I thought about it. Because are we maybe lifting up a shout up against God? Jesus said in John chapter 3 verse 12, if I have told you earthly things and ye believe not, how shall ye believe if I tell you of heavenly things? Then listen to this, guys. He says this, and no man ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven, even the Son of Man, which is in heaven. So what are we doing, you guys? What are we doing? What is the point of any of this?